on-site sewage disposal system. At the last meeting of this board, Supervisor Laska, Engineer Janelli had made it clear that he had plans and specs, and you agreed to provide those to the town. I made an open records request to you and haven't received anything. Is there any reason why the engineering that the town's people has paid for is not being delivered to them?
Yes, there certainly is, and I'll have to take the time to go through the stream of emails.
I don't want the emails, Mr. Laska. What I want is the documents that the town paid for, the engineering, the specifications, the testing, the soil testing, and the estimates from the various contractors that you have gotten from. That's what I'm looking for.
What you and the board and the residents need to hear is the stream of emails, and you will indeed get the information that you're requesting.
No, Mr. Laska, I don't want emails. I want the plans and the specifications that I have paid for as a taxpayer in the town of Waukesha. That's what I'm looking for, not emails. I want the documentation.
The documentation from Chris Janelli was sent to you, and I can't help you not being able or wanting to read your emails. On October 15th, I sent to Jamie all of the information I had from May 9th through October 15th included. That you should have received, that you should have read, that you should have understood, because it was very clearly brought up in everybody's packet on that meeting.
What was, can you just tell us what was in those emails then?
I do have the floor. Could you listen?
Sure.
Okay. After October 15th, there was 8 emails that transpired between Chris Janelli and myself. I did indeed honor your request for the open records and sent an email and the 8 emails to Jeannie. And Jeannie requested, where should they go? And I told her very clearly, John Merritt requested them. So you should have received them, because I emailed you honoring your open records request on Monday, February 24th at 10 a.m.
Mr. Laska, have you forwarded the plans that Chris Janelli drew for the town of Waukesha? Have you forwarded those to the town of Waukesha?
I don't know if you recall this or not, but back in October, you vividly stopped any forward progress on the project that we were seeking. Okay, so on October 26th or thereabout, everything came to a halt.
Mr. Laska, at the last meeting of this town board, Chris Janelli stood in front of us and told us that he had plans and specifications that he sent to you.
Look, I don't need to be badgered by you.
I'm not badgering you. I'm asking you for the information that the town of Waukesha taxpayers have paid for that you have kept from us for the last 6 months. Do you have plans and specifications from the engineer for the town of Waukesha? That's a simple answer.
The simple answer is Janelli has them. He never gave me hard copies.
Do you have them in electronic fashion, Mr. Laska?
Do I have where?
Do you have them in an electronic fashion?
Negative.
So Chris Janelli lied to us 2 weeks ago when he was in this hall and told us that he sent you plans and specifications.
That's inaccurate.
It's inaccurate or it is accurate?
That's inaccurate.
So he did not send them to you?
I have never received hard copies.
I didn't ask that question. Did you receive an electronic copy, Mr. Laska?
The only electronic copy that I received from Chris Janelli is what you received prior to October 15th.
Okay, so you have
That
no...
was nothing more than an aerial view of a proposed location of the pipe that would connect the sewer and the water. That is the only plan, if you will, or picture, if you will, or spec spec, if you will, call it what you want, but that's all I had.
Fair enough. Do you have any soil testings from the soil testing results from the soil tester that was here?
And to you, once again, John, you need to read some of the stuff that you request. Just to badger me for stuff, for things to send you, and I do send you, then turn it right back in my face. I find that very disappointing.
When did you send that, Mr. Laska, the soil tests?
Check the 44 emails from October 15th. It took me about an hour and a half to email all those, Jamie, and it's not my fault you can't read.
Can I break in here?
In a moment. Mr. Laska, my last question, do you have any estimates that you haven't shared with the rest of the board for a mound system for the town of Waukesha?
Negative. I have no estimates for the town board.
You
The
haven't?
estimate you should have in front of you is from Chris Janelli in the form of $109,000 for a sewer water hookup with the city of Waukesha.
That was not my question. My question, Mr. Laska, was do you have any estimates or any bids from any contractors for a mound system for the town of Waukesha that you did not share with the balance of the town board?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
All right, fair enough. You were on record. Mr. Wolf,
Yeah, back on October 17th, we had a packet of about 99 pages. And page 23 to the end was all the documentation that we got from Chris Janelli as far as the requirements for the city up to date. So I don't know why you haven't seen that, because I went back and looked at it. That was everything, that was the arrangement of where the line was supposed to go for the sewer. It wasn't the water yet, because they hadn't determined what they were gonna do with the water yet. It was all their requirements of our sizing and everything else. So that was all the documentation that we had gotten from Chris Janelli. We did not get any plans from Chris Janelli.
fair enough. Mr. Wolf, at the last meeting of this board, you said that you were going to check with another municipality who was putting in a septic system and they weren't being required to put in a separate holding tank. Have you contacted that individual?
No, I did not say I was gonna contact the community. I'm waiting for the guy from the DNR to get back from, he took a month leave, and he was the one that was involved in doing the fire station for the other community, and the guy I talked to at the DNR is the one that recommended me going through him to get it, and he's not back yet.
Okay. What is the municipality? What municipality is that?
Menominee Falls.
Okay. All right. Anything further?
Mr. Chairman, I was asked a question, if I may, before we adjourn,
Please.
and I need some guidance. I think I'm reading it correctly. You have a special rule in your community that ordinances need a supermajority vote if they're a change of the rule and they're to be laid over for one meeting. The question that was posed to me is whether or not the two ordinances we adopted fall under that. I did not think they did because of the nature of them. I didn't consider them to be a rule, but I don't want to leave that issue if someone says that it's been your past practice on every ordinance to delay them. The other thing I didn't know is that Attorney De La Mora had prepared these ordinances a long time ago, and I thought maybe they had been presented to you previously. I didn't re-research this, I just put them in final form. So I thought maybe they had already been presented once before also, and then that was the other reason I wasn't too concerned. 2.2 is annual town meeting. I didn't think that was rules, you know, and the town board terms, again, I didn't consider that to be a rule. And to refresh your recollection, I know it's and again, I'm just learning them all. It says that when you have rules, and there are a lot of rules in here, of course, as you know. Let me just go to the one quickly again. Under conduct of business, motions, you know, those are all what I consider to be the rules. Then it says amendment of rules. The rules of this chapter shall not be rescinded or amended unless the proposed ordinance amendments or chapter to be rescind, has laid over for a regular meeting and then shall require a vote of 2/3 of all members of the board. I think we meet the 2/3, but I don't know of any reason that, I didn't think it was a rule, and I just wanted to verify that you all agreed. That was the question that was asked to me. I think it's a proper question, and I think we should address it. Is that the type of thing, is this the type of ordinance that you adopted tonight that you generally had 2 readings on and laid over and things like that?
No. I don't think we've addressed an ordinance in this fashion since 2010 when I got on the board, so I don't think there's a history that I can recount to rely on. I don't know what the definition here of a rule is. Is it anything above that line? Is it, and that's why I brought that to your attention to say what does that apply to?
Joe, I mean, just a question, we certainly have done revisions to our zoning ordinances.
But that's not in this chapter. The ordinance specifically says the rules of this chapter. So I read that to be chapter 2 would have this impact and rule within it. I don't, I'm asking the
So
question.
chapters 1, 3, and everything else wouldn't apply?
The
But
way
then,
that-
but then
Again,
make
I'm
a
asking.
lot of sense to me.
What's
I'm
your-
asking the attorney for the advice. It says the rules of this chapter, so it seems to limit, the ordinance seems to be limited to impact this particular area. And yes, non-zoning ordinances, just this particular one.
Attorney Macy, what's your read on that? Would it apply specifically to Title II of our ordinances?
Yes, but it also says it applies to the rules set forth in, and is it chapter 2 or chapter 3? Town board is chapter 3, and your numbering is such
In
that.
chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
Section 2, chapter 3.
Yeah. Oh, it's Title II, Government and Administration, and the rule is found at the end of 2-3, the section 2-3, which is Town Board.
Well, I guess let's just cut to the quick. Does anybody take exception to not holding this over for another town board meeting? Mr. Wolf?
If it's not breaking any of our rules or ordinances, it's fine.
Supervisor Laska?
Okay with it.
Supervisor Vansky?
I'm the one who brought up the question. I have no opposition to it at all.
Supervisor Fisher?
It's okay with me?
I think we move on then.
Thank you. I'm sorry that I have to burden you with these policy decisions. The clerk calls me and I don't know, and I said, well, we're gonna ask our bosses.